The United States Navy. For decades, the name itself has been synonymous with overwhelming power, a symbol of a superpower's global reach and dominance. There's a potent reason why nations geared for conflict, like Iran and North Korea, and even resource-rich giants like Russia and China, hesitate to challenge this force upon the waves. It is the undisputed king of the seas, a maritime leviathan few dare to provoke. While a full accounting of its might would take hours, let us delve into some core elements that forge the U.S. Navy into the formidable presence no nation wishes to confront on the open ocean. Ironically, before the crucible of the First World War, America hadn't envisioned pouring vast national resources into its Navy. The nation felt secure, nestled between two vast oceans. But that illusion shattered on January 28, 1915. The German Navy sank the William P. Frye, an American merchant vessel, despite President Woodrow Wilson's pledge of neutrality. This single act sent shockwaves through the American elite. The comforting belief in oceanic protection crumbled, replaced by the chilling anxiety of aggressive powers rising across the water's powers, potentially capable of crossing those oceans to threaten America's very shores. From this fear, the seed was planted. A vision emerged to build the most powerful Navy history had ever witnessed. A force capable of projecting power globally and crushing any threat. Before it reached American soil, though the gap in national power between the U.S. and the rest of the world may have narrowed over time, the sun truly never sets on American naval bases. With a fleet boasting over 500 warships, centered around formidable carrier strike groups and expeditionary strike groups, the U.S. Navy remains perpetually poised. It stands ready to unleash devastating force against any entity perceived as threatening American interests or those of its allies, anywhere on the globe. When speaking of this unparalleled strength, the first image that springs to mind is often the aircraft carrier America's colossal, mobile military bases upon the sea. Indeed, the mere presence of a Nimitz or Ford-class supercarrier, or even massive amphibious assault ships like the USS Miguel Keith displacing nearly 90,000 tons, is enough to cause unease in any potential adversary's military command. Yet, these symbols of power require guardians. America needed more than just awe-inspiring flagships. It needed tenacious escorts, capable of defending these vital assets even amidst the fury of a large-scale naval battle. For over 3 decades, this critical task has fallen to the Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. Their sheer capability constitutes a major reason why the U.S. Navy fears no rival. Named after the famed U.S. Navy admiral of World War II, the Arleigh Burke-class holds the distinction of being the longest-running production line for any U.S. Navy surface combatant since that global conflict. With 68 ships delivered, these destroyers remain the backbone of America's surface fleet. They are among the largest destroyers ever built by the U.S., and a single vessel possesses firepower comparable to the entire navy of a medium-sized nation. Consider their arsenal displacing between 8,400 and 9,500 tons. Each carries 90 to 96 vertical launch system VLS cells. These tubes can unleash a devastating mix of BGM-109 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles, RIM-156 SM-2, and RIM-161 SM-3 air defense missiles, and RUM-139 VLAS anti-submarine rockets. Alongside the VLS are Mark 30 torpedo tubes for submarine hunting, for closer engagements. A powerful Mk 45,127mm naval gun sits on the bow, capable of firing 600 rounds out to 21 kilometers. Defense is layered, incorporating Phalanx 20mm close-in weapon systems, M240 to Bushmaster 25mm cannons, and multiple Browning machine guns to counter swarm attacks. Depending on the mission, they can also be fitted with Harpoon anti-ship missiles or the advanced SM-3 Block 1B ballistic missile interceptors. This formidable weaponry is integrated with the cutting-edge ANSPY-1 radar system and the Aegis combat system. This allows a single destroyer to automatically track over 100 targets simultaneously, even small, fast threats like missile boats, across a 360-degree radius, providing unparalleled situational awareness and engagement speed. In essence, The Arleigh Burke Destroyer is a heavily armed, mobile fortress capable of simultaneously fighting off air, surface, and subsurface threats, even intercepting ballistic missiles, all while steaming at over 30 knots. However, even these powerful escorts face the growing threat of hypersonic anti-ship missiles developed by rivals like Russia and China. A single hit from such a weapon could potentially disable a supercarrier. But this doesn't mean America's floating airbases are defenseless. Ready on their decks, poised for immediate launch, are the F/A-18 Hornet multi-role fighters, the carrier's own lethal sting. Imagine the scenario proposed by some analysts: a massive salvo of hypersonic missiles targeting U.S. carriers. Before those missiles even reach their targets, F/A-18 Hornets would be scrambling, capable of reaching Mach 1.8 and carrying over 6 tons of ordnance, including AIM-9 Sidewinder, AIM-7 Sparrow, and AIM-1-OM ROM air-to-air missiles, Harpoon anti-ship missiles, and a 20mm Vulcan cannon. These jets can strike the launch platforms themselves, whether they be enemy aircraft, ships, or land-based launchers. Supporting them are E-2D Hawkeye airborne early warning aircraft, P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, and various UAVs, all constantly scanning, tracking, and ready to eliminate threats around the carrier. Unlike the vulnerable carriers of the past, like Imperial Japan's Akagi or Kaga, modern American carriers are potent offensive and defensive platforms, true mobile fortresses capable of projecting power and defending themselves robustly. And crucially, they can bring this devastating air power to the doorstep of nearly any coastal nation on Earth. Yet, the threats continue to evolve. Discussions of potential conflicts often highlight the danger posed by advanced enemy submarines, Russia's Borei and Yasen classes, or China's Type 09 Frye. Some experts suggest these submarines could decimate U.S. fleets and threaten supply lines, echoing the U-boat campaigns of World War II. But these analyses often overlook America's own apex predators of the deep, the Virginia-class nuclear-powered attack submarines. These vessels are the tip of the spear for U.S. anti-submarine warfare efforts. Sleek and stealthy, these 115-meter-long, 7,900-ton submarines can dive deeper than 500 meters and maintain speeds of over 25 knots submerged. Built by General Dynamics Electric Boat and HII Newport News Shipbuilding, they carry a formidable payload, 12 VLS tubes capable of launching Tomahawk missiles for precision strikes against land targets. While equipped with 533mm torpedo tubes, their magazine holds up to 37 torpedoes, ample for engaging enemy submarines and surface ships. Powered by a nuclear reactor designed to last the submarine's entire 30-year lifespan. Without refueling, their operational range is virtually unlimited. Critically, the Virginia class is among the quietest submarines ever built. They boast sophisticated sensor suites, including advanced active and passive sonar arrays like the TB-16 and TB-9A, linked to the ANBQQ-10 processing system and Sperry marine navigation radar. They can even deploy unmanned underwater vehicles for reconnaissance and mine detection. Integrated Raytheon Combat Control Systems (CCS MK2), ANBYG-1, and advanced satellite communications allow them to precisely target enemy assets, hitting strategic bases like Haikou or Sanya in the South China Sea, or vital industrial centers like Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky in Russia, steadily degrading an opponent's war-making potential from the silent depths. Still, sheer firepower, whether from the surface, the air, or beneath the waves, might not be enough to compel nations like China or Russia, with their vast resources and populations, to yield. Winning the battle at sea is only the first step. To truly secure victory, forces must land ashore, seize critical locations, and exert pressure that forces an advantageous end to the conflict. This is where the U.S. Navy's world-leading expeditionary capability comes into play, embodied by modern amphibious assault ships like the USS America and USS Ponce. These massive vessels, displacing over 40,000 tons, are more than just transports. They can deliver thousands of elite Marines directly onto hostile shores, but they also serve as mobile air bases for advanced aircraft like the F-35B stealth fighters. versatile MV-22 Osprey tiltrotors, AH-1Z Super Cobra attack helicopters, and heavy-lift CH-53EC Stallion transport helicopters. Furthermore, these platforms are adaptable, capable of fielding cutting-edge technologies. As far back as 2014, the USS Ponce successfully tested a laser weapon system LAWS, destroying a drone target almost instantly with an invisible beam. This technology, concentrating multiple laser beams into one powerful ray, points towards the future of naval warfare, initially envisioned for defense against drones and small boats. Combining carrier power projection, destroyer defense, submarine stealth, and amphibious assault reach, the U.S. Navy presents a multi-layered, globally capable force. It seems unlikely, at least in the near term, that any other naval power could truly match, let alone surpass, its capabilities. Yet, the specter of rising challengers, the historical memory of naval empires like Spain and Britain fading as their sea power waned, haunts the American strategic mindset. Complacency is not an option. To maintain this edge, the U.S. invests staggering sums, averaging well over $140 billion annually, with budgets reaching nearly $163 billion in 2021 alone, a figure approaching China's entire military budget for that year. The American leadership understands a harsh truth: naval supremacy is inextricably linked to global power. To lose control of the seas is to risk the very foundation of America's standing in the world. The relentless investment reflects a determination to ensure that fate does not befall them.